Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Thursday, November 2nd, 2023. Today we'll recap Game 5 of the World Series, and then we'll recap the NBA and NHL and soccer, look ahead to everything today. We have college football, we have Thursday Night Football, we have some golf, news and notes, and best bet. We'll start with the World Series as it comes to a close, and the Rangers win Game 5 by a score of 5-0 to win their first championship in franchise history. Amazing for Texas. It's been a long time coming. And this is the most unlikely World Series winner from like a preseason expectations and even for that matter playoff expectations in a long time. Nathan Eovaldi got the win, Zach Gallen the loss, and getting the save for Texas was Josh Sborz. And the funny thing is that Gallen was perfect through 6 innings, and then he just fell apart. Or he had a no-hitter through 6. That's what it was. So he finished 6 in the third inning, 3 hits, an earned run, a walk, and 6 strikeouts. He did everything he could to give the Diamondbacks a chance. And then it was Kevin Ginkel for Zona, an inning and 2/3, a hit, 2 walks and a strikeout. Then Paul Sewald did an inning, 5 hits, 4 runs, and 2 strikeouts. He was awful. He was the LVP of the series. He was really bad in Game 1, which cost them no chance to win Game 1. And then he was awful in this game. And pretty much blew up. And then Eovaldi, 6 innings, 4 hits, no runs, 5 walks, 5 strikeouts. 5 walks were concerning, though, for Nate. And then Chapman, 2/3 of an inning, a walk and a strikeout. They got concerned with Chapman. And then Sborz finished off 2 1/3, a hit, and 4 strikeouts. As Texas wins its first World Series in franchise history. The 2011 World Series will always haunt this franchise, but they can forget about that one as they finally get it done. And the funny thing is that they did this without Jacob deGrom, who was their big free agent signing this offseason. He's recovering from Tommy John surgery. They did this mostly without Max Scherzer. What saved them was going to get Jordan Montgomery at the trade deadline. Well, and Scherzer too, but Scherzer didn't work out as he got hurt. And they get Jordan Montgomery at the deadline. They don't win without him. They signed Nathan Eovaldi, which was a very shrewd and excellent signing. Corey Seager was their big fish signing, along with Marcus Semien a couple of winters ago. And those two have worked out, obviously. And the role players, they have the catching platoon, which worked. Nate Lowe at first base. Josh Jung, one of the better rookies we have that's going to be better. Adolis Garcia was somebody that really had a breakout October, but unfortunately got hurt during the series. So they did this without him, too. And Bruce Bochy, it's his 4th title, and that was a slam dunk hire. And some people were like, old school guy, we'll see. But this worked out. And it couldn't have worked out any better for the Texas Rangers. Even the addition of Aroldis Chapman didn't blow up in their face like many thought it would, including yours truly. He got some big outs for them, especially tonight. And we were sitting here thinking, oh, he's going to implode in the playoffs and cost his team a series. And it's his 2nd ring because he won with the Cubs in 2016. And it's Corey Seager's 2nd ring because he won one with the Dodgers. Bochy's 4th. Eovaldi's 2nd because he won one with the Red Sox. Max Scherzer, this is his 2nd because he won one with the Nationals in 2019. So there's a lot of guys that were on this team that had experience in the past, which really helped this team. Jordan Montgomery was in a lot of big games with the Yankees in the past. Although he's pitched much better with the Rangers than he did with the Yankees and the Cardinals, which helped his cause. Andrew Heaney has stepped up for them in the run. So the Rangers have a lot to be proud of, and they are a worthy World Series champion in my mind. And their offense all season was a machine. They had pitching depth, which pretty much saved them. And even their bullpen, which had a ton of question marks, came through and got some big outs when it mattered the most. So, good job on Texas. And I did say that Texas-Baltimore series winner in the first round was going to be in the World Series, but I wasn't sure if they were going to win the World Series because we weren't sure who the National League was going to be. So, and then let's go to Arizona. They have a lot to be proud of. Their season was absolutely a success, making the playoffs for the first time in a while. Torey Lovello did an outstanding job this year. It's just that Texas was the better team, fair and square. But Arizona, I think long-term could be a contender. But they did catch some lucky breaks with the Dodgers, sweeping the Dodgers, and the Dodgers really not making the moves to put themselves over the top. And Philadelphia just choked at home in games 6 and 7. So give Arizona credit for taking advantage of those situations and getting themselves here. But I think that their road to get back is harder than Texas's because of the ability of those two teams to bounce back that they beat in the playoffs. San Diego's going to be better, you would think. And then, obviously, the Braves will be back. So, Corbin Carroll, long-term franchise player, certainly. Zach Allen's an ace. They're going to keep him around. Brendan Pfaadt had an outstanding playoffs. Merrill Kelly was really good in the postseason. Their bullpen got some big outs, except for Paul Sewald, ironically enough. And Sewald, obviously, they got from the Mariners at the trade deadline. So, that is something interesting. And the funny thing is that the Rangers lost 102 games a couple years ago. That's just proof that a turnaround doesn't have to take that long. Like the Astros and the Cubs from several years ago. So, that's another subplot that needed to be mentioned, how the Rangers lost 102 games a couple years ago. And now they're the champs. Free agents, Jordan Montgomery's a free agent. There are going to be a ton of teams after him. Trying to think of any other free agents that are on some of these teams. Aaron Nola, but that's an NLCS team. But yeah, Jordan Montgomery is the one that jumps out to me the most in terms of big players on the World Series teams. Lourdes Gurriel's another one. So Gurriel's, obviously, that would be a big loss for Arizona. So, Chapman is another one. Texas. Mitch Garver from the Rangers. So those are notable free agents on the World Series teams. So we're talking about the National League a little bit, and Arizona's tough road to get back. Texas, I think, has an easier path to get back. And that's whether, regardless of whether they sign Max Scherzer or not. And even Jacob deGrom, whether he's back or not. I mean, they might need another pitcher. Maybe they do re-sign Jordan Montgomery. They have the offense to do it. Their bullpen probably needs some more reinforcements, and you can't really rely on Chapman. So, maybe they have got to improve their bullpen. But you would think it depends on Shohei Ohtani. If he goes to the National League, the Astros are a team, obviously, that's in decline, as we saw in the postseason with how they lost that series against the Rangers. The Mariners, they should be better. Oakland's still going to be bad. The Angels are going to be awful, especially if they lose Ohtani. Trout could be on the trade block. You think the Yankees are probably going to bounce back next year. And we didn't even talk about the Mets in the National League as a bounce-back team. They're in play to bounce back, absolutely. So bounce-back team in the American League, I'd say the Yankees. You think the Blue Jays are going to still be in it. The Orioles, maybe they take a step back. Jack Flaherty's a free agent. And you think that the Yanks are going to be better and the Blue Jays are going to be better. The Rays are not going to be better because they don't have McClanahan and Franco next year. And obviously, those losses showed when they got swept by your new World Series champs and the Rangers. So they're not going to be as good. The Central, maybe the Guardians will be better with the new manager. We always wait for the White Sox, but to me, they can't be taken seriously. Minnesota will still be there. And maybe you got a big leap from the Tigers with their young prospects, and who knows about the Royals. So the Rangers obviously have an easier road back, and I think that they're way more likely to return to the World Series than the Diamondbacks. Okay, now we'll move on to the NBA. We will recap the games from yesterday and look ahead to tonight's 4-game window. Trailblazers over the Pistons, 110-101. Raptors over the Bucks, 130-111. Hawks over the Wizards, 130-121. Celtics over the Pacers, 155-104. Nets over the Heat, 109-105. Cavs over the Knicks, 95-89. Pelicans over the Thunder, 110-106. Rockets over the Hornets, 128-119. Timberwolves over the Nuggets, 110-89. Mavericks over the Bulls, 114-105. Jazz over the Grizzlies, 133-109. Warriors over the Kings, 102-101. And the Lakers over the Clippers, 130-125 in overtime. The Lakers and the 11-game losing streak against the Clippers. I saw that last night, which was amazing considering that LeBron's been on the Lakers for a while now. And I know he probably missed some of those games, but that's just stunning that they had lost 11 straight to the Clippers. And then on the flip side, Kawhi and Paul George probably missed half those games. All right. Tonight's game, 7 o'clock, NBA TV, Raptors-Sixers. I have to make some adjustments here a little bit. With Philadelphia's potential new cast of characters. And obviously, no Harden. So I project Philadelphia by 8. Total 218 and 7/20. And we have here Philadelphia by 8.5, total 215.5. I like the over. I think that Maxey and Embiid could help that, and Siakam too. Pistons, Pelicans. I have Pelicans 10.5, total 214, and it's 7.5 and 217.5. I like the under. I think that the Pelicans' defense has been pretty good this year, and their offense has not. And same for Detroit's offense. 9 o'clock, Magic Jazz. I pick them at 220 and 2/5, and it's Jazz by 1, total 221.5. Very close numbers. Slight under, because the Magic's defense has been excellent this year so far. Then 10 o'clock, NBA TV, the rematch from the stunning result on TNT 2 nights ago, and that's Spurs-Suns. I have Suns 13, total 224 and 7/20, but if Devin Booker doesn't play, it'll be 7.5, and it is 8.5 and 225.5. I'm going to lay it with the Suns if Booker plays. If Booker does not play, it's a slight under for me, because of the lack of trust I have in either team's offense if Booker isn't there. And by the way, the in-season tournament begins tomorrow, so at some point today I'll drop the in-season tournament predictions show. Now I'll move on to the NHL. We will recap the games from yesterday and look ahead to tonight's slate. Sabres over the Flyers 5-2, Stars over the Flames 4-3, Avs over the Blues 4-1, and the Ducks over the Coyotes 4-3 in overtime on a game winner by Troy Terry, as the Ducks come back from 3-2 down after they blew a 3-0 lead. All right, a lot of games tonight. 7 o'clock, you have Hurricanes Rangers from the Garden. Monster game. In my opinion, this is like a prove you could be the best team in the division game for the Rangers. If they lose this game, it's like, they took advantage of Connor McDavid and some overrated teams in the West. But that's why there's a lot of pressure on the Rangers to come out and play well tonight. And are they favored? Yes. Slight favorites, minus 114. Canes are minus 105. Over under 5.5. Over is minus 118. Unders minus 104. Canes plus 1.5 is minus 260. Rangers minus 1.5 is plus 210. I'm going to take Carolina because I know I've picked against the Rangers almost every time on the show. But they're due to lose. They've been playing so well. They've won 5 straight. If they win again here, then just can't go against them. But Carolina's awesome. And guess what? The Hurricanes, you could argue, need the game too, because they're 2 back of the Rangers right now. And the Rangers have a game in hand. So if the Rangers win this game, it is monstrous if they win this game. But first game back from the road trip doesn't always bode well for the Rangers at home. So I'm giving the Canes at minus 105 to win at MSG. Kings Sens. Kings minus 120 cents, even money over under 6.5. Overs minus 150, unders plus 122. Kings minus 1.5 is plus 198 cents, plus 1.5 is minus 45. I'm going to do a ballsy play. Kings regulation plus 120. And that's because the Sens is going through some turmoil right now. I just don't trust that. Panthers Red Wings. Panthers minus 115, Red Wings minus 104, over under 6.5. Overs minus 128, unders plus 102. Panthers minus 1.5 is plus 198.5. Red Wings plus 1.5 is minus 240. The Red Wings are playing great hockey right now. But the line's telling, give me the Panthers minus 115. Islanders Capitals. Isles minus 126, Caps plus 105, over under 5.5. Overs minus 114, unders minus 106. Isles minus 1.5 is plus 198, Caps plus 1.5 is minus 245. I kind of like the over, even though the under would be a Sorokin play, but I don't trust the Capitals goaltending. Lightning Blue Jackets. Lightning minus 162. Blue Jackets plus 132. Over under 6.5. Overs minus 122. Unders even money. Lightning minus 1.5 is plus 150. Blue Jackets plus 1.5 is minus 182. Lightning slow start ish. 4-2-3 by their standards. I'm going to take them to win in regulation at minus 105. 7:30. ESPN Plus in Hulu. Leafs Bruins. Pick 'em minus 110 each way. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 130. Unders plus 106. Leafs minus 1.5 is plus 220. Bruins plus 1.5 is minus 275. I'm taking the Leafs. There's a reason they're favored on the puck line. And when is this Boston team going to start showing its true colors? Or they're just some regular season machine that chokes in the postseason? 8 o'clock, Devils Wild. Devils minus 115, Wild minus 105, over under 6.5, overs minus 132, unders plus 108. Devils minus 1.5 is plus 195, Wild plus 1.5 is minus 240. I'm taking New Jersey at minus 114 on the road to get within a point of the Rangers and maybe Carolina, depending on, or with the possibility to get within a point of Carolina and the Rangers. Stars Oilers at 9. The Oilers are favored, minus 150. The Stars are plus 125, over under 6.5. Overs minus 120, unders plus 1 or minus 102. Stars plus 1.5 is minus 194. Oilers minus 1.5 is plus 158. I'm taking Dallas plus 125. 10 o'clock, Canadiens Coyotes. Awful game. Arizona's minus 137. Montreal plus 114, over under 6.5. Overs minus 104, unders minus 118. Habs plus 1.5 is minus 225. Coyotes minus 1.5 is plus 184. I like the under. Jets, Golden Knights. That's a decent game. Vegas minus 144. Jets plus 120. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 134. Unders plus 110. Jets plus 1.5 is minus 100. Vegas minus 1.5 is plus 164. Under. Don't feel good about it, though. Preds, Kraken. Two underachieving teams. Kraken minus 118. Preds minus 102. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 122. Unders even money. Preds plus 1.5 is minus 255. Kraken minus 1.5 is plus 205. I'm going to go with the under because it's a juicy sorrow play. Preds Kraken. Or I'm sorry. Last but not least, I just did Preds Kraken. Last but not least, 10:30 Canucks Sharks. Vancouver minus 230. Oh my God. I can't believe Vancouver's that big of a favorite. The Sharks only have 1 point all season, so it makes sense. The Sharks are plus 188, over under 5.5, overs minus 140, unders plus 114. Vancouver minus 1.5 is plus 112. Sharks plus 1.5 is minus 134. The only play here for me is Vancouver minus 1.5 plus 112. So we'll do that. All right, now move on to soccer. We have a ton of results to go over for today, and then look ahead to everything today in soccer. We'll start the MLS playoffs. We forgot about this particular game, and that's Columbus over Atlanta 2-0. I apologize for not picking that game. Cucho Hernandez scored both goals for Columbus in the 46th minute before the break, and then in the 51st minute as a penalty kick, so they lead 1-0 in the series. All right, Coppa Italia results. Genoa over Reggiana 2-1 in additional extra time. Parma over Lecce 4-2. And Cagliari over Udinese 2-1 in additional extra time. All right, 1 o'clock today you have Sassuolo and Spezia. See if these games are posted here. Yes. Sassuolo minus 240, Spezia 6-1, draw plus 340. There's a reason Sassuolo's minus 240. Under 2.5 goals plus 108. 4 o'clock, Torino and Frosinone. Torino minus 160, Frosinone plus 470, draw plus 260. I'm going to go over 2.5 goals at minus 108. All right, results from yesterday in Spanish Copa del Rey. Melilla over Naxara 2-1. Rayo over Athletic Lugones 6-0. Badalona Cadiz 0-0 draw, but Cadiz advances 4-2 in penalties. Girona over Roque de Lepe 2-1. Adi Alcorcon over Navalcarnero 1-0. Valladolid over Santa Eulalie 5-1. Tenerife over Compostela 1-0. UCOM, Murcia, and Linares 0-0 draw, but Linares advances 7-6 on penalties. Leganes over Lunarnese 2-0. Orbastro over Ponferradina 1-0. Azuaga and FC Cartagena 0-0 draw, but Cartagena advances 3-2 on penalties. Celta Vigo over Sargano 4-0. Sevilla over Quintana 3-0. Lugo over Antonino 1-0. Astorga over FC Andorra 1-0. Hugues over Terrell 1-0 in additional extra time. Arantino over Real Alaves 1-0. Eldense over Real Jane CF 3-2. Caon over Ursaria 2-1. Deportivo over Covadonga 3-1 in additional extra time. Sporting over Guajelo 3-0. Zamora CF and Racing 2-2 draw, but Zamora advances 4-3 on penalties. Arandina over Murcia 1-0. Antequera CF over Manchego 3-1. Baracaldo and Malaga 0-0 draw, but Malaga advances 4-2 on penalties. CD Ternalo over Real Huelva 1-0 in additional extra time. Orihuela and Gymnastic 0-0 draw, but Orihuela advances 6-5 on penalties. Salamanca over Guernica Club 2-0. Elche over Europa 2-0. Mirandes over Utebo 2-1 in additional extra time. Terrassa over Albacete 1-0. Yaclano over Athletic San Luqueno 2-0 in additional extra time. Mallorca over CD Borio 4-0. Real Sociedad over Buno 1-0. How about this? Getafe over Tardinta 12-0. Huesca over Aguilas 1-0. Andrax over Tarazona 3-2 in additional extra time. Racing Ferro over Marbella 3-1 in additional extra time. Real Oviedo over Manresa 2-1 in additional extra time. Betis over Hernan Cortes 12-1. And Athletic over Ruby 2-1. All right, less games today, but a good handful. 2 o'clock you have Segoviana and Sisteo. I'm going to pull that up real quick. Each team's plus 175. The draw's plus 190. I'm going to go with the draw plus 190. Chiclana and Villarreal. Villarreal minus 8,000. Chiclana 70-1. The draw 35-1. Over 3.5 goals plus 124. Arosa and Granada. Granada minus 800. Arosa plus 1,700. Draw plus 650. Over 3.5 goals plus 124. 3 o'clock. UD, Logroñas, and Valencia. Valencia minus 460. Logroñas 10-1. Draw 5-1. I'm going to go over 3.5 goals plus 116. Atsineta and Real Zaragoza. Zaragoza minus 310. Atsineta plus 850. Draw plus 380. We're going to do over 2.5 goals minus 104. 330. Villanovense and Ibiza. Ibiza plus 120. Villanovense plus 270. Draw plus 290. I'm going to go with Ibiza plus 120. Hercules and Burgos. Burgos minus 110, Hercules plus 310, draw plus 220, and go Burgos minus 110. And at 4 o'clock, you have Dep Maricha and Alaves. Alaves minus 800. Maricha 70 to 1, draw 45 to 1. I don't have the option to bet other things so far. So we'll go ahead and hold on that one. The German DFB Pokal. Dortmund over Hoffenheim 1-0. Leverkusen over Sandhausen 5-2. Paderborn over Freiburg 3-1. Holstein Kiel and Magdeburg 3-3 draw, but Magdeburg advances 4-3 on penalties. Nuremberg over Hansa Rostock 3-2 in additional extra time. Saarbrücken over Bayern 2-1. Hertha over Mainz 3-0. And Frankfurt over Victoria Köln 2-0. And then today we have Dutch Eredivisie. 3 o'clock Ajax and FC Volendam. That's a rare Dutch game for a Thursday. Ajax minus 550, Volendam 9-1. The draw is 550. Ajax is last in the league and FC Volendam is 16th. We're going with the draw plus 550. That's crazy. Okay, now move on to college football. We'll recap the games from yesterday and look ahead to a 3-pack tonight, which is better than a 2-pack. So a little bit of action last night. Just want to quickly pull up the results. Bowling Green over Ball State 24-21 and Akron over Kent State 31-27. And then 3 tonight, 7 o'clock on Fox Sports 1. Big 12 matchup, TCU, Texas Tech. My projection is Texas Tech by a half, total 53 and 9/10, and Texas Tech is favored in the game. Looks like by 3.5 or 3. 3, total 59.5. So I'm going to take the under for the game. I just think that the offenses are going to do some running, and that's a high number for those two teams. 7:30 of ESPN and on ESPN, Wake and Duke. 8.5 I have for Duke, total 43. 17-20, and it's 12.5 and 44.5. I know Wake has a ton of injuries, but I'm going to take them to cover the point spread here. And then last but not least, ESPN 2, South Alabama, Troy. I have Troy 7.5, total 49 3/10, and it's 3.5 and 44.5. I'm going to take the over. I think that the total is extremely low for offense as good as South Alabama's. I know Troy's defense is really good, but even 26-23 final is an over. So I like the over in South Alabama, Troy, for sure tonight. All right, Thursday night football. All of a sudden, a very interesting game. Didn't look interesting maybe a week ago, but it looks more interesting now. Titans, Steelers. Will Levis making his second career start on a short week against Kenny Pickett, who returns from the injury that he sustained last week. I think Pittsburgh could have won that game last week if he didn't get hurt, because Trubisky just stinks. My projections here is Pittsburgh 6.5, total 38. No Ryan Tannehill for Tennessee. Not that big of an adjustment, but Minkah Fitzpatrick and Pat Freiermuth are out for Pittsburgh. Jeffrey Simmons and DeAndre Hopkins are questionable. That's a big deal. But hopefully for Tennessee's sake, they'll play, especially Hopkins. And Pittsburgh's only giving 2.5 totals, 36.5. I'm going to lay the 2.5 with the Steelers. That's extremely low. I think that Will Levis is getting a lot of hype after that great performance. I also could see where he just regresses to the mean. Remember, Daniel Jones came out and balled out in his first career start against the Bucs in a game that the Giants probably should have lost because Tampa missed a field goal at the end of the game. Well, Will Levis with that big performance reminded me of that Daniel Jones performance. But it could be the other way where it's a wow and it's like, okay, we have our quarterback. So it could go both ways here. But I'm going to ride with Pittsburgh. Even if this goes to 3, I'd lay it because Cam Hayward's back. TJ Watt's still there as far as I'm concerned. And I know Minka's missing, which will potentially bode well for Will Levis. But I do think Pittsburgh's the better team. And I think that TJ Watt's going to have a big game. So I'm going to lay the points with the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, golf. We are going to go over the current leaderboard for the WWT Championship. Except there's no leaderboard to speak of. My bad. So I think it goes off in Pacific time. So we're just going to look at the odds to win the tournament. It's actually live right now, but we have no updates. So Ludwig Aberg is a 9-1 favorite. Everybody loves Ludwig Aberg. Cam Young's 10-1. Seth Thiglia is 14-1. Jaeger's 25. Beau Hossler's 25. Lucas Glover's 33. As is Keith Mitchell. At 35-1, you have Luke List, Ashke Bahita, Chasen Headley, Thomas Dietrich, J.J. Spawn, Emiliano Grillo. Davis Riley's 33. Lucas Herbert's 35. At 45-1, you have Cam Champ, Davis Thompson, Justin Sue, Chris Gotterup's 55, as well as Taylor Pendrith and Andrew Putnam. 65-1 is Matt Kuchar, Martine Laird, Kyung-Gu Lee, Mark Hubbard. 70-1, Taylor Montgomery, Callum Tarrant, Doug Gibb. 75-1, Harry Hall, Nick Hardy, Brandon Wu. 80-1, Peter Quest, Michael Kim. 90-1, Eric Van Rooyen, Adam Svensson, Sam Ryder, that was my pick. Vincent Whaley, Austin Smotherman. 100-1, MJ Dauphin, Ben Griffin. 90-1 as well. And then it gets wonky at 110-1, and Grayson Sieg and guys like that. So Tyler Duncan's 120-1. That's valuable. Trey Merritt's 120. Hayden Buckley's 120. Will Gordon 120. So there's some decent golfers you can find value with. Carson Young 170-1. But yeah, I love finding value in the non-popular golf tournaments where bigger names don't try, and these big underdogs are just cash for you. So, and I don't mean not try. Part of me just thinks that they don't take this one seriously, say, like, obviously the Masters or the PGA Championship or the Open or something like that. All right, now move on to the news and notes for today. We have some things to talk about. So we'll talk James Harden first. He did not debut against the Lakers, and his first game with the Clippers could be as soon as Monday at Madison Square Garden against the Knicks, which kind of would be poetic. And he's going to be booed by all the Knicks fans, and they'll be shackling him. And then James Harden will not speak to Daryl Morey. He hasn't spoken to Morey in months. He doesn't intend to speak to him ever again. Oh, my God. That falling out must have been ugly. He must be so happy to be out of Philadelphia. But I think Morey was right to trade him. He's just a player past his prime who's not awesome anymore. Derrick Rose to miss a week with knee soreness. That is not good for Memphis. With Ja out, and they're 0-5. Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler were not healthy. They did play against the Nets, but those injuries obviously played a factor. The NBA says that the Spurs didn't foul KD, as L2M report explains Trey Jones made marginal contact before Keldon Johnson's steal and game winner. Wow. That was obviously the controversial Spurs win on Tuesday night on TNT. So, it looks like DeAndre Hopkins is going to play tonight, which is good. Sad news in college basketball. Bob Knight passes away at the age of 83. 3 NCAA titles with Indiana. Awful news. Rest in peace, Bob Knight. Legendary coach, one of the best to ever do it. Thoughts and prayers to Indiana and his family, his friends. Just sad news coming down yesterday. The WNBA out on Portland as the league has deferred expansion to city due to questions around the Moda Center renovations. Back to football, it looks like that the Raiders are benching Jimmy Garoppolo and going with Aiden O'Connell. That's not surprising considering they cleaned house. And we'll see how O'Connell looks against the Giants. Has a chance to do well, considering that the Giants trade away Leonard Williams, and their defense obviously is worse without him. Darren Waller can miss a couple weeks, so obviously the hamstring injury, and he misses his return to Vegas. The Padres took out $50 million loan as they address short-term cash flow issues for obligations, including player payroll. Yikes. And the World Series MVP was Corey Seager. Deservingly so. He had so many big home runs in the series, and he was just their best player. So it's not surprising. The Ottawa Senators fired GM Pierre Dorion after 8 seasons. That was a long time coming. Dorion's made so many bad trades over the years, but there's some trades he actually won. Like, he did win, looking back, the Eric Carlson trade when he traded Carlson to San Jose. He's hit on some draft picks, of course. Brady Tkachuk among them. And he's done some good things, but there's been a lot of misses too. And the ownership in Ottawa that took over for Melnick did not hire Pierre Dorion. So it's not surprising that they fired Pierre Dorion. I think the coach might be next, honestly. DJ Smith, who's been there a very long time for a Senators coach. So we'll see what happens with Ottawa long term. But like I said, I'm not surprised by that at all. And then the Senators lose their first round pick because of their role in the voided Evgeny Dadonov trade from Vegas to Anaheim. Yikes. That's probably what was the final nail in the coffin for Dorion. Nicholas Backstrom is stepping away due to a hip injury, as he's going to take some time. That's a big veteran loss for the Capitals right there, and that's someone that's really had a fabulous career. And then La Liga news, Rodrigo signs Madrid extension. He agrees to a new deal through 2028, so that is big for Madrid right there. All right, last but not least, my best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. So, there's not a ton that I love for best bet per se in terms of the NBA. I mean, there are some hockey ones I liked a lot. And part of me wants to go with an underdog in hockey. Because it's just hard to pick. And I do not think Connor McDavid is back for the Oilers. And the Oilers right now have 5 points, and they're that big of a favorite against a team that's lost in regulation only once this year. Half unit on the Dallas Stars, plus 125 at Edmonton for my best bet of the day. All right, so that's it for the show. I'll be back tomorrow for the Big Friday show, so we're looking forward to that with the Fab Five. And then tonight at some point I'm going to drop the NBA in-season tournament preview and predictions show. Have a good night, everybody.